Yeah, so you get in there and there's some weird thing where there's like a guy trying to set up a table, but there's other guys with this like box of rocks. You don't understand. The merch situation seems very confused.
Oh, it's some Art Nouveau thing.
They're selling crystals, I guess. Maybe it's just something about the how getting the venue. I don't know. And this thing just falls right through the floor.
Does it fall onto people?
That's a good question. I'm gonna say everybody needs to make a reflex save as this huge screeching mechanical device just unmoors itself from the ceiling. Thing falls. It literally like punches a hole through the floor. And it's heavy enough, and this fall is apparently violent enough, and the floor is apparently shitty enough, as you are discovering, that it actually takes a lot of the floor with it in its journey to wherever it's going. So anyone who got less than a 10, you're in the hole, mate. Anyone who got less than a 5 is maybe going to take a point of damage on the way down.
Ruben Gillespie is now dead.
Yes. Time to death, 28 minutes.
Oh. Yeah, Lionel does not take the fall well, and he probably hits his head on a piece of floorboard on the way down and doesn't make it. He's toast.
Yeah, I like to picture that Ruben was kind of wandering around looking for either of the other two, and just was directly under it.
Yeah.
The biggest issue being he had the car keys.
Oh no!
He was the designated driver.
So I have good news for anyone who got above a 10. Is that you are around the lip of this hole. You managed to scramble your way to safety and get the fuck out of there. So you are still up in the main area. Yes, if you would do me the kindness of putting your surviving characters in that little white rectangle.
Yeah, it's not a game of D&D with Tom if I didn't have to zoom out all the way to find the beginning of the map. How big is this map, Tom?
It's big enough.
I'm getting threatened in here, Squid, saying I'm not as much of a killer DM as you are.
It's Dungeon Crawl Classics. We're here to kill him.
Yeah.
All right, so anybody who... let's start with the crew that's still upstairs, because you have a little bit more freedom of action right now. So there's a big sparking hole in the ceiling. At this point, the power in the building is out. So the power in the building goes down. The band suddenly screeches to a stop. There's panic and screaming. The only light is the illumination from these little peels of very dramatic sparks that are coming out of the floor occasionally, as well as the ceiling where this thing used to be mounted. It's dark out, but there's still a little bit of ambient light coming in from outside. But yeah, what do y'all do?
Jasper would like to steal.
Nigel is gonna stand there completely stunned, and okay, this is a question for Tom as the GM.
Of course.
I am wearing my rock collecting gear. Would I have any rope in my backpack?
Oh, you crafty minx. Would you have any rope if you'd brought your rock climbing gear? Roll me a d6. We'll give you a 2 and 6 shot of having some rope. Well, it'd be very convenient. 2 and 6.
You want me to roll a d3?
No, just give me a d6. 2 out of 6. Yeah, no dice.
Okay. I made way. I took it out to make way for more rocks.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, then he's gonna start looking around for any kind of thick cable or something else that can be used as rope.
Okay, cool. What else is the upstairs crowd doing?
Let's see. Lionel bought Freddy maybe a PBR or two, and he kind of sees Lionel take the fall pretty bad. So Freddy's going to start trying to like climb down to what he thinks is just his unconscious body, but we all know it's something worse than that.
Oh no.
So he's going to start climbing down, and Arthur is going to be standing there completely stunned. He's going to start calling for help for anybody nearby. Trying to get like a rescue effort going.
Okay.
Was the one that was a postal carrier one of the one that died, or one of the ones that lived?
No, he lived. That's Arthur.
Okay.
Lionel, the firefighter, died.
I think
Aw.
if anyone attacks
Ironic.
I think
Yeah.
this building's not up to code. Final words. As he
Oh, so I would like to have a word with you.
Ironic. He could save others from fire, but not himself. All right, so Tristan, you wanted to steal? You wanted to do crimes?
So yeah. So I imagine Maxwell, being a good and kind postal service worker that he is, who I imagine would have been chatting with the other postal worker
Oh my
about
God.
postal worker things. Yeah, I'm so excited. Would be like trying to like see if he can call down to the people who fell and checking if they're okay, and generally trying to like be a good, helpful guy. Jasper is 100% trying to use the confusion to like steal like a T-shirt or like a couple like bracelets, wristbands, lanyards. He wants to this stuff could be big.
The band is desperately trying to get the fuck out of there. You can like shovel T-shirts into your backpack. You're just there like.
Yeah, no, he's 100. Especially if there's anything like really unique. Like T-shirts are good, but like if they have like a weird like specific type of band merch, that's what he's going after. Otherwise, like a bunch of lanyards, some T-shirts, some armbands.
Yeah, I think the Revelator actually for their logo they've been using. They just like basically straight up stole the logo of this building, the Anti-Masonic Lodge, and their like symbol is the Cerberus. It's the 3-headed dog.
We'll just take that, like take like a Cerberus fidget spinner or whatever. All the merch he can find.
I hate you so much.
Oh yeah, I mean it's got the 3 things.
All right. Dylan, what are you doing?
Oh, under the assumption that we weren't going to get back to me, I wrote it in chat. But basically, Claudie is, he's doing his best not to like, freak out at what just happened and the fact that his friend got like sucked, an involuntary like 10 to 15 foot drop into what he assumes is the basement. But so he's looking for like a safe means of egress down there. Like he's probably searching for like, a door with a stairwell that leads downstairs. And Kevin is sort of unattached from the whole situation, but is following behind Claudie.
Yeah, so you can all right, so that's what you'll be doing. So let's switch back to the downstairs crew. So anyone who wants to just like climb down the hole, make me a strength test and you will be downstairs.
Trained or untrained?
I guess that would depend on your character's like class or your character's profession and their background, and if you think that they would be trained.
I mean, Freddy's an iron worker. He's been shoveling for a very long time, dealing with heavy machinery. So he's trained.
Sure.
It's not gonna help him though.
It's a little rough, but he makes it down there more or less okay.
Nice. I guess for prosperity.
All right. So down in the basement. So there is not a lot of light upstairs, but there is very little illumination down here. So you're in this large dark space. The floor is like dusty. The wall is sort of just like stacked stones, basically, kind of like a sort of an old school foundation. Although in some areas it seems like, especially on the outer wall, there's just been like plaster that's been like painted. Like there's weird paintings all over the walls. And then in these sort of like these pillars or these protrusions, you get the sense there are these like niches, and in the niches there are, I mean, they kind of look like they kind of look like bodies.
Carlton is gonna pull his phone out of his back pocket and call the police.
Not getting very good reception down here.
Do the bodies look buried with intention? Does it look
Yeah,
like we've come upon a tomb, or do these look like
no,
murder bodies?
This is a tomb. If you examine them a little bit more closely, honestly, what they look like is they kind of look like, honest to God, it's very strange. So they look like they've been like mummified. They're standing upright, and they've been like bandaged and mummified. But they're dressed, and this is really weird. They're dressed like revolutionary or colonial era guys. They got like fucking tricorn hats on. Some of them actually like have like muskets at arms to their sides, and they've got these like, some of them are just sort of dressed in like, frock coats and knee breeches, and some of them actually have like what look like sort of uniforms on. Like they've got like blue and red uniforms with like waistcoats, knee breeches, rifle at arms, and powder horns, and they're tricorn hats, buckled shoes, the whole fucking deal. And some of them, I mean, you're not a fucking expert, but some of them it just sort of looks like a costume. But some of them it looks like they look really fucking old. I mean, hard to say, but it's very strange.
So we can tell that they're from different time periods?
Yeah, I mean, some of them look newer than others, right? Some of them look like maybe a little fresher, and some of them are like almost just crumbled to skeletons and rags.
Do you mind if Carlton goes and takes a closer look?
Of course.
Okay. I'm going to go and check their clothing for tags.
Fair enough.
The Gap.
So poking around, some of them do have like are definitely like reproductions, but there's one or two of these guys that are like actually like really fucking old.
Hand sewn.
Yeah. It seems like a mix. Like some of these guys are buried down here and they have like a look, and some of them that's just what they actually dressed like. What's everybody else doing? Keep in mind there is a screeching, writhing piece of machinery down here, as well as, and I cannot stress this enough, 2 human corpses. In addition, well, very fresh human corpses.
They have names.
Not anymore.
Corpse 1 and Corpse 2.
I mean,
Scott is like walking Maggie and Faust through how to like do a quick check of their wrists and stuff.
Winners
doing, like-
get names.
He's doing like Boy Scouts level first aid to make sure everyone's okay except the dead people, but he hasn't noticed that yet.
There's definitely some people who took that fall harder than you guys did.
That's true. I don't think none of my characters have anything to do with screaming machinery, so we're just doing checks to make sure that we're okay. And maybe if there's someone, but yeah, Maggie actually probably finds out that the guy next to him or next to her is dead, and immediately tries to find a way to climb out. Just like, fuck this.
Unfortunately, the hole in the ceiling does not neatly line up with the holes in the walls. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like there's just not like, unless you wanted to grab a sparking power cable, there's not like a great way to haul yourself up.
Well, Jenny works at Home Depot. She's probably qualified to look at that machine. And somebody's got to look at it, right? She's probably not going to notice because I assume it's relatively dark down here. Might not notice the dead body right next to her. So she'll go examine that machine,
Okay.
The machine.
with all the expertise she has.
All right, so you can give it a look. It's like very warm. Like it doesn't like electrocute you, it doesn't burn you, but it's like very warm, especially compared to this sort of kind of cold basement already in like what was already not a well-heated building, But it's like giving off a lot of heat, especially like these weird like sparking coils that it used to have. As you get close to it, you see it. There's like lots of engraving, like all over it. Like the whole thing is covered in this very fine, like weird symbolic engraving. Like it's just covered in fucking symbols and sigils and all sorts of just odd shit. And as you're looking at it, you touch it and you move something, and then suddenly there's a moment where it does something. You push things into some sort of alignment, just touching it, looking at it, not clear. You make some connection, you make some short circuit somewhere, and suddenly there's this feeling. And it's not just you that feels it. Everybody immediately starts to feel something very strange happening. It's a mix of the feeling of you accidentally slept on your arm and now it's a little numb, and the feeling of standing up too fast and suddenly feeling a little dizzy. And a little bit of that feeling of standing close to the edge of a tall ledge and that little thing in the back of your brain that makes you want to jump off of it. As this machine emanates some sort of force, effect, and you don't know why, and it's hard to describe, but you feel like something passes over you and through you, and the world is different now in a way you can't describe.
Is the machine still running?
No, the machine at this point just and it just shoots off another big plume of sparks, and then just whatever oomph it might have had, whatever zhuzh might have been left in the motors, gives way, and it goes cold.
And
Yeah,
everyone, even people on the upper floor, felt that, right?
Yeah, people on the upper floor too are like walking around talking, and suddenly, like this wave of like vertigo, this wave of disorienting nausea. Like, you know how like anyone who's ever been on like a cruise ship or even just like a large boat knows the feeling of like, your brain like thinks that like you're in a building, but then like it starts like, oh no, motherfucker, you're in a boat. Like that's sort of the feeling, is like your brain just sort of is reminded that like, oh man, I'm on this big rock that's spinning really fucking fast, and now I feel that in a way that I didn't feel that before. That's what it feels like.
As an adjunct professor, Nigel probably deals with at least a little bit of science. Mind if I roll an intelligence check to see if I know anything about hypotension?
Sure.
Trained or untrained?
It's trained. Yeah, you made a fair case.
Nice.
What'd you get? 19? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you think that you just had some sort of like fucking, you should probably you might want to see a doctor, honestly. Like, you don't think you had a stroke, but you might have had some sort of episode. Meanwhile, back in the downstairs, can I get everyone just make me a luck roll? All right, so everyone who succeeded on that luck roll, you hear some movement down here, sort of from the other side of this room. And again, you don't have like a great sense of how big this fucking room is, because again, it's dark as hell and nobody's turned a light on. But like, yeah, you hear like some scraping and rattling going on.
Scott's got a cell phone which miraculously remains nearly brand new despite the fall. So he's gonna turn on the flashlight and like poke his head out in that direction, assuming that he has no idea how many people fell in the hole. Maybe someone fell and tumbled into the dark. Um,
So which way are you looking?
in whatever direction I heard movement coming from. Is it all around?
No, it's mostly coming from like this direction.
Then in that direction I go.
All right.
He won't like move far from the group, but he'll like poke his head around like that corner.
Yeah.
Flashlight in.
Reveal areas.
Oh God, he's dead.
No. So yes, you see more. You see a little bit more of the wall paintings, which are also in this like weird, like hieroglyphic, weird Egyptian type looking style. Very strange. And then,
I do also have Philip Jones with a virus and crash free phone who will probably pull out his light as well and start looking around.
Okay. Can you tell me which character that is?
That is this fella here.
All right. Where's he going and where's he looking?
Well, is this kind of like a direction this way as well?
No, I mean, there's more room that way, but there doesn't sound like there's anything coming from that direction.
He's probably going to take a look down that way and kind of take a look at his surroundings, see what's going on.
Yeah, so you see that there's another area in here. If you look around, you see there's another area in here. Again, more of these like these like back walls or these like side walls here have more niches. But the back wall here is, again, more of that like weird, like faux Egyptian painting. Although as you look at it, like you see something and you're like, wait a minute, is that Ben Franklin? And it is. Like it's literally like a very stylized depiction of like what is very clearly sort of a slightly portly Ben Franklin in that sort of Egyptian painting profile. And he's got his kite, and there's like kite and it's hanging in the air. And there's like a big lightning thing hitting the kite. But it's all done in this very like faux Egyptian style.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Aldrich is gonna look around and be like, guys, if that machine and the floor weren't up to code, maybe we should stay away from anywhere where the roof might collapse. You know? I'm just pointing that out. I heard some kind of noise, and I'd really rather not be standing under a roof when it gives out. But are there any cables running from the machine straight up? Are there any cables that are long enough to go from the machine all the way back up into the upper room?
Nah, no dice. The machine took basically everything that was mounting it to the ceiling. The machine took with it when it fell. There's nothing, no very convenient wires, cables that will take you back up to safety.
Okay. Did Nigel find anything upstairs, like a cable from one of the cable that got left behind in the band's hurry to leave?
That's a good question. So the band did skedaddle in a hurry. Yeah, there is definitely some. There is some good stuff there. There's some electrical. There's non-sparking, non-damaged or destroyed cables that you can use. Yeah, I'll say associated with audio cables or power cables that you can use if you want to like lower a rope down.
Okay. Well, knot a bunch of them together and try and lower it down to people after securing it to something that looks like it might be up to code in the building. Is there anything in the upper floor that looks like it's up to code enough that it could support a human weight?
Sorry?
You mentioned a bar before. Any chance I can affix this one end of this cable anywhere on that bar?
Yeah, sure. You can get it tied to the brass railing around the bottom of the bar.
Awesome. I will dangle that down and shout, anybody who's still alive, there's a cable here, and I'll waggle the cable so it's easier for them to see.
Okay.
I think Whitney would try to grab a hold of that if she can.
Okay. Before we do that though, people who are upstairs, Dylan, you had some characters who were trying to find a non-insane way down, correct?
Yes.
So they're can you give me a D6 roll, just 1 and 6?
Sure.
Yeah. Actually, I guess there is a mechanic for this. There is a luck check. Give me a luck check for your characters.
Sure.
I've been using 1 and 6 because that's an easy fallback, but we do have rules for this.
Good old Claudie.
Right. It's a good question. So there is a way down. There is a way down. This building, you realize that there is a way down, but it's actually not in this building. Or you think it's maybe not in this building. There's the lodge, this building, but then there's also like there's like, or sort of around the block, there's another like building that has this same, like, that is an anti-Masonic lodge building. It's their like tap room, their little bar, their little club or whatever. Like, it doesn't say it, but it has the Cerberus like logo basically. And you think that there's a chance that maybe these if there's some like weird underbuild, like weird basement, maybe their basements are connected.
Okay. I mean, hey, that's as good a lead to go on as any. And much as I'm sure Jenny would be enthused to climb up a wire. Back to how far down is this, by the way, out of curiosity? You might have said the number, and I might have
I'd
missed
say
it.
It's like, it's not so high that it's implausible that everyone didn't just die or have shattered bones, but it's low enough. So I'd say like maybe 14, 15 feet.
Okay.
High enough that you can't just like jump and pull yourself up.
Yeah.
But it's not quite so high that you'd have all been mangled.
Yeah, Claudie thinks, you know, that's a good way to start. That's safer. He doesn't abide tying wires to bars. That's too dangerous. You know, people could get more hurt than they already have. So he's gonna like shout down mostly to Jenny, but to everybody else who fell down as well. Like, you know, I'm gonna go look for an exit for you guys. And they'll be like, "Come on, Kevin," and he'll go, you know, find the entrance. Actually, a curious question: if your phone has a busted camera, does like the flashlight also work?
I imagine the busted camera as being literally something's wrong with the lens of the camera, but you have a flashlight, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. So he's using that. He'll go try and run around the block and see if his theory is correct.
Okay, cool. So if people are trying to climb out using the wire rope that's been run down, I need who wants to be first up the rope, I guess is my question.
So did your character say out loud tying the wire to the bar was too dangerous?
He might have mumbled it to himself. You could have heard it, certainly. He wasn't saying it to you, though.
Well, Nigel will probably say, "He's right. You're probably better off looking for stairs and using this as an emergency exit." And Aldrich will reply, "I don't know. I heard something. This place sounds like it might collapse." And Nigel will reply, "Well, if it starts to collapse, then use the wire. But for right now, you should probably look for a regular way out. Because you don't want to fall off this thing, and you especially don't want to fall off this thing onto a live sparking wire."
He's got a point. Right.
So those of you who are downstairs, Pug, you see somebody shamble into the light of your flashlight.
Ooh.
It's definitely one of these here mummies, but he is, I'm gonna say, distressingly ambulatory. He sort of jerkily moves towards you, dragging his rifle along the floor beside him.
Scott saying nothing is going to whoever is immediately next to him on the map. This fellow is just gonna like grab his shoulder and push him forward so that he can get back around the corner. And seeing the cable go, yeah, that go there now. He won't be the first to grab the wire because that wouldn't be very manly, but he will be very insistent that people start moving so that he can go up the wire.
So who is going up the wire?
I think I said that before that Whitney would try going up, so.
Yeah. All right, I need you to roll me a luck check.
All right.
Oh, good old WB. WB, you give this
Not
thing
like this.
a pull, and then a punk. Like, as soon as you, like, put all of your weight on it, it just pulls the bar. It pulls the rail right off of the fucking bar.
Oh,
Like, you
no.
feel like go slack, like, immediately. I mean, at that point, some more buddies show up. Out of the niche here, actually, let's say it's this one here. Literally, like, plops out of the wall. Like, this guy, like, like he just sort of, like, surprised himself awake. Like, just takes a step out of the wall. So can I get initiatives, please? It's loud. It's assaultive. It only looks like there's 4 people up there, but it sounds like there's a lot more. Definitely loud. That's what they've got going for them.